What a joy it is to be back at Mount Carmel again this morning and have the privilege of standing here where I'm standing. I'm as needy as anyone you've ever looked at. When I was here the last time that I spoke here, I was speaking some from the 12th chapter of John. And I want to continue that this morning for just the few minutes that I'll be here. This is very important scripture. This is the close of the Lord's ministry. If you'll notice what he said in the 36th verse, the latter part of that saying said, These sayings spake Jesus, and departed, and hid himself from them. Now that was the close of his ministry. They had rejected him, and now he was rejecting them. But let's start reading with the 35th verse of that chapter. Then Jesus said unto them, Yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while ye have the light, lest darkness come upon you, for he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whither he goeth. While ye have light, believe in the light, that ye may be the children of light. These sayings spake Jesus, and departed, and did hide himself from them. But though he had done so many miracles before them, yet they believed not on him, that the saying of Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled, when he spake, Lord, who hath believed our report? And to whom hath the arm of the Lord been revealed? Therefore they could not believe, because that Isaiah said, again, he hath blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts, that they should not see with their eyes, nor understand with their heart, and be converted, and I should heal them. These things said Isaiah when he saw his glory, and spake of him. Nevertheless, among the chief rulers also many believed on him, but because of the Pharisees they did not confess him, lest they should be put out of the synagogue. For they love the praise of man more than the praise of God. Jesus cried and said, He that believeth on me, believeth not on me, but on him that sent me. And he that sent me seeth me, seeth him that sent me. I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth in me should not abide in darkness. Yet, and if any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not, for I come not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that rejecteth me rejecteth not my words, and rejecteth, and my whole hath one judge him, that when that I have spoken, the word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. There's a couple more verses of that I'm not going to read, but a few things that I want to call your attention to in this. As I said, this was the close of the ministry of the Lord, and since it would look like to the world that he had been a failure, and it would, because they didn't believe him, it was necessary that the Lord take time, that God take time to prove to the world what his Son was, and that his ministry was not a failure. And it wasn't a failure. The world may think it was, but we know that it wasn't, because he got every one of his own, and they'll all be with him in glory. But there is so much in this. This Jesus said unto them, Yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while you have the light, lest darkness come upon you, for he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whither he goeth. I want you to consider a few things about this. For one thing, how many suns do we have? And it comes up in the morning, it doesn't come into existence. It was somewhere before it came up. But when it comes up, it brings light to everyone. And there's only one that brings light, and that you catch what he was saying here. Yet a little while is the light with you. There's only one light that come into the world that would illuminate the heart of a child of God and would show him, and that was Jesus Christ. Just as much as there's only one sun that raises in the morning to illuminate the world, that we can circulate around in it without falling over everybody. And he gives us a light as we walk among each other, that we not walk in darkness but in light. And he is the light of the world. You know, this is so rich. Walk while you have a light. Believe in the light. While you have light, believe in the light, that you may be children of light. See, he wants us to be the children of light, because the light, his light, is illuminating us, and we're walking in his light. I really like that. There's no other light. You can't find another light to walk by in this Christian life except Jesus Christ. Amen. He's the only one. Again, I'll repeat it. Just as much as the sun comes up in the morning, doesn't come into existence then, but it was already before that. It comes up to illuminate the whole world that we can get around. And boy, that was his purpose in coming here too, that he could illuminate our hearts and our minds and show us these things. This is so much in this. These things spake Jesus, and departed and hid himself from them. That is the close of his ministry. From here on out, he spends his time with his disciples. I like that. What happens in the next chapter? He washes the feet of them. Why would he wash their feet? You know why? What do you use the feet for? To walk. And so he teaches us that he washes our feet and teaches us to wash one another's feet. Because the feet is the thing that we walk with in this life. I like that too. Boy, I tell you, there ain't nothing in this thing that's trivial. He didn't put a thing in here that doesn't belong here. It all belongs here, if you just think about it. The feet, the next thing he does. And then he tells them about where he's going. And then the rest of the ministry, the rest of his life, he spends it with his disciples, or either there at the cross. His public ministry, what I'm saying, was over. It was at a close. I've got a few things I want to say about that and show you something about that too. But though he had done, catch this, but though he had done so many miracles before them, yet they believed not on him. Of all the miracles he had done, what did they ask him? They said, "Who is this son?" In other words, he'd been with them for 33 years, a ministry of about 3.5 years. And they didn't recognize him and said, "Who is this Son of Man that's going to be lifted up? Who is he?" He was the Son of God. I like the fact that Isaiah, when he quoted in the 53rd chapter, and he said, "Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed, said, For he shall grow up as a tender plant." I like that. How God took care of that little plant. Remember when he was a baby and the Lord come down and told his parents, said, "Take this child down here and get him out of this country because Herod's going to try to kill him." And then he took him down there, and he kept him down there till Herod died, and he said, "Now you can take him back." You know, he shall grow up as a tender plant. God, his Father, was taking care of that tender plant in everything that happened. God was taking care of it. It was a tender plant. I like that too. Boy, that is something. How God cared for his Son and cares for us the same way. All right, notice this. But though he had done so many miracles before them, yet they believed not on him. They looked at him and said, boy, what a failure this man has been. The world still looks at him today and ridicule. And they say, well, who is he? What did he do? Who is he? I don't have to bow my knee before him, but every knee is going to bow and every tongue is going to confess. Every one. But he had done so many miracles, yet they believed not on him. Think about what he had done. He had stilled the waves. He had raised the dead. He had turned the water to wine. So many, I'm not going to take time to name them all. You can study them out yourself. But yet he had done so many miracles, and yet they believed not on him. It looked like he had been a total failure, but God was going to see that in the eyes of his people that he saw in his glory. And more about that too, a little later. Then that the saying of Isaiah, the prophet, might be fulfilled, which spake, Lord, who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? Isaiah said that in the 53rd chapter of Isaiah. I want you to catch this. I told the preacher, I told him the other day, I said, I want to just give you a little food for thought. I like that little food for thought. I said, have you ever thought about what the report of the Lord was and what the arm of the Lord is? You know, the report is the oral ministry. I'm giving you a report this morning in the words that I speak. And that's exactly what the Lord done, and that's what he's talking about here when he said, who hath believed our report? His message was coming from heaven. It was coming from a triune God, a thrice holy God, and they rejected it and didn't believe it. But you catch this. Who hath believed our report? Who believed his report or his message? Only the ones that he opened the hearts of. Now, Isaiah said they could not believe because Jesus said he had blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts, lest they should see with their eyes and understand with their hearts and be converted, and I should heal them. He didn't have to send out a decree and say, harden these people's hearts. All he had to do is leave them alone. You know, anyone that's left to themselves, that God doesn't intervene in them, that heart's going to be hardened. And that's exactly what happened to Israel. They rejected Jesus Christ, and this is a result of their rejection of Christ. But now, let me go back and give you one more thing here. And to whom, when he said about the arm of the Lord, well, the report is the message that he had. The arm of the Lord, what do you do with the arm? I like to watch weightlifters and wrestlers and boxers and all that stuff, and how they use their arms to lift and to do everything with. They're using their arms to do it because that's where the strength is. And when he said, to whom the arm of the Lord revealed, to do these miracles, he had to use, he used it as an illustration as the arm, because the arm was a strength, and he had the strength to stop the waves, to raise the dead, to turn water to wine. Well, he had the strength that he performed all these miracles, and that's what he meant by the arm of the Lord. The fact that he had performed these miracles. And that's the arm of the Lord that he's talking about here. Now, because of Isaiah said he blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts, that lest they should see with their eyes and understand with their heart and be converted, and I should heal them. These things said Isaiah when he saw his glory and spake of him. I love how that God don't leave anything in the world that he doesn't back up. When do you think he saw the glory of the Lord? I asked you this morning when we were sitting back there and the preacher said, you got a song, got a request? And I said, sing me number 6. I want to hear that song. Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty. Because I was thinking back in the 6th chapter of Isaiah, when Isaiah saw the Lord high and lifted up. That's what he's speaking about right here, and that's where that is quoted when he said that he hardened their heart and closed their eyes and he left them alone. Go to the 6th chapter of Isaiah and read it for yourself. That's what he would talk about. These things spake Isaiah when he saw his glory. Turn over to the 6th chapter. Let's just do that. It can't be God doesn't leave anything to have or to change in this. And I want to show you here that I like this too. The first verse of that says, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting up on the throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Boy, if that wasn't looking at him in his glory, I don't know where in the world you'd go to look for him. That's what he saw when he noticed. And above it stood the seraphims, each one had 6 wings, and with 20 he covered his face, and with 20 he covered his feet, and with 20 he did fly. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. What did he see there? He saw the whole earth full of the glory of the Lord. What a vision he had. That's when that he said, and notice what this, and he said, in the 9th verse, he said, Go and tell all these people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their eyes heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and be converted, and convert, and be healed. Then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. So notice, here's where he's looking at him in his glory. And when he saw him, the whole earth was full of his glory. And boy, it was strong. There was something here. Notice, he said, and the post of the door moved, and the voice of him cried, and the house was filled with smoke. But if that ain't describing the glory of God, it makes me stand here and tremble. I shake in my feet when I think about what Isaiah was looking at here. He saw the glory of God. You know that song says in the 2nd verse, I believe the 3rd verse, of Holy, 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 he says, the eyes of sinful man shall not see thy glory. They can't look upon the glory of God. But boy, when their eyes are open and they have they're a new creature, then they can see the glory of God. And notice, and then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I'm a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. You know, I don't know whether I want to look at something like that or not. I don't know what I'd do. I don't know what I'd do if I had the vision that Isaiah saw, and I saw him in all his glory. I guess I'd fall as a dead man at his feet. You know, some of the apostles did that even when they seen the angels. But my friends, if I was looking at him in all his glory, there's no doubt in my mind that I'd fall as a dead man at his feet. Isaiah said, Woe is me. If you want to go over to the 5th chapter of Isaiah, you'll find him pronouncing just woe more than once over there too. For I am done, but I'm a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of an unclean people. Mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. What a vision. Then flew one of the serpents unto me, having a live coal in his hands, which he had taken with the tongs from the altar, and he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. And I heard the voice of him saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, Here am I, Lord, send me. After Isaiah saw him in all his glory, and the fire was touched to his lips, he said, Here, Lord, I'm ready to go now. I've been cleansed. You've cleansed me, and I'm ready to go. And here, Lord, send me. How I wish that all of us could say that this morning to the Lord. Here am I, Lord, send me. You know what I want to do? preacher asked me, he said, you want to speak this morning? You want to open service? And often I'll say, no, not really, or something like that. But how I wish that we could answer that call and say, here am I, Lord, just send me. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. But there is so much in this. And then he said, go and tell these people, I got a message for you. I want you to go tell them. I got a message for you this morning. This was the close of the Lord's ministry. And here he is showing him and telling him about a vision that Isaiah seen back in the 6th chapter of Isaiah, about a message he had in the 53rd chapter of Isaiah. He's tying it all together. I like that. He don't leave no loose ends. I may sometimes, when I preach, I know that I leave loose ends, and I don't explain things as plain as they should be. But God don't do that, boy. I'm glad that he don't do that. He tied that 53rd chapter and that 6th chapter in together, and right here, and the reason he did that was because, and I've got to close, I'm running too much time, but the reason he did that was because of what they had done to his son. God said, you reject my son, I'm going to reject you. Your eyes are closed, I'm not going to open them. You won't be able to see, and you won't be able to understand, and they didn't. But my friends, he didn't do that to his people. He opened their eyes. He opened their heart. You remember Lydia? In Acts, he said, and the Lord opened her heart. Oh my, I'm glad. And I pray that God will take me a tender heart, and that he will help me to understand these things. But now I've got to close, but nevertheless, I want you to notice this. Nevertheless, among the chief rulers also many believed on him, but because of the Pharisees, they did not confess. In other words, they believed with the mind, but the heart wasn't touched. God hadn't touched their heart. Their mind was right. They were believing with it, but God hadn't touched their heart. He hadn't changed their heart. And so they didn't want to confess, lest that if they did that, they stood a chance of being cast out of the temple. And they loved the praise of man more than the praise of God. I don't want to be like that. I hope I'm not like that. I hope I'm not like that. I would rather have the praise of God anytime than the praise of man. God bless you. Thank you so much.